welcome to the news. I am Saja Brito. The headlines: Banjulians react to proposed renaming of Arch 22 in Banjul. Sino Majulak reacts after Rohim Malik Low's site visit a couple of days ago. UDP leader visits Serekunda Market over the weekend, and our special guest on the show today is Momodu Sabali, former SG. But first, we'll take a look at the stories that we have with us today. And the first story we will go with today is the renaming of the Arch 22, the proposed renaming of the Arch 22, which was obviously proposed by the Truth, Reconciliation and Reparations Commission. The event was in fact supposed to take place this June 28, but it was put on hold by the Attorney General and Minister of Justice, and now Banjulians are reacting to the proposed renaming of the Arch. Our Mudiwangam has more.
Built in 1996 to mark the military coup of July 22nd, 1994, executed by former President Yahya Jammeh and the then AFPRC, Arch 22 has been known as Arch 22 to Gambians and the rest of the world. However, following the completion of the trials at the TRRC and in an attempt to ease the pain of the persons directly or indirectly victimized by the former regime, it is being said that one of the most renowned monuments in the Gambia is about to undergo a name change from Arch 22 to Memorial Arch. Scheduled for June 28, 2021, the name change was intended to grant the victims of the former regime posterity with a display of their names and photographs. The Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Dauda Jallow, confirmed to the Standard newspaper that his ministry, as the line ministry for the TRRC, was not consulted about the name change, further stating that they only came to know of it via the newspapers and other media institutions. Minister of Justice Jallow continued that he had to call the TRRC and inform them that the name change of such a major national asset requires the knowledge of the ministry, and that even the president of the country, Adama Barrow, was not notified about the decision to rename the Arch. For this reason, it has been collectively put on hold. We're out in the streets of Banjul to find out how Gambians feel about this, and one might even ask what difference a name change could bring about. Let's find out together.
Waaw loolu initiative boobu rafet na te baax na parce que ñii ñu ñàkk te xamuñ leen woon dëgg dañ leen war di fàttaliku ci jamono ju nekk te ku ñëw Banjul boo gisee aj bi nga dégg tur boobu dina am lu sa xel daj ci ni dictatorship bi fi nekkan am na yu bon ñun fi defoon ñu jël lii tuddal leen ko di leen ko fàttalikoo loolu dina baax te lu rafet la.
So yow daal yow maanaam sa xalaat daal niñ ko waaj a changé nii nekk na loo xam ne dagan na. waaw
dafa dagan sax dafa dagan Arch 22 yooyu yëpp dañ ko war a bale sànni fële 22 ci boppam lañ bale sànni fële léegi nag indi lu bees li mooy démocratie la ñu ngay doxal. réew maa ngi dox tabarkalla lépp a ngi rafet courant a ngi am léegi glace da ngay naan 24/7 réew mi neex na dañ soppi tur wi de tali bi sax buñ ko mënee soppi tuddee leen ko nañ ko def.
ne suñu waroon a jox turi aj bi ak yooyu noonu foog na ne foofu foog na ne bàmmeel la woon before somehow like mën nañ ko jox turi bàmmeel boobu noonu instead of any other name like July 22nd or any other thing,
Okay, so your point is like you indi an old name, old nung tudon.
Because of So soon find out that the name, the real name of that place also, we give the Arch that name. That is more memorial also, because of that it's an historical place. Fongane guide them on war ak ñu bari bo fofu lañ leen suule o xeyna tubaab yoo xam ne xeyna they were exploring Africa long years ago ak yooyu noonu ñu bëre seen grave bi foofu la ak yooyu noonu xam nga during the slave trade all these things more than 400 years ago bamel boobu noonu nag yaaga na nag wax dëgg
waaw man waa Banjul la juddoo Banjul yaroo Banjul bananoo Banjul dëgg sa wax ji day ànd naa ci because Arch 22 man mi ni dara ci man lu mooy mu ma fàttaliku li fi xewoon ànd naa ci pour ñu wëcc ko because ñoom dañ jékki-jékki sampa aaj bi dafa amul any significant importance waaye léegi suñ ko fekkee ne tuddee waat nañ ko niñ ko war a tuddee at least loolu dina dalal xel nit ñi daal man musuma koo egg.
lan lañ fiil si lii ak sax ndax foog nañ ne nekk na loo xam ne jar na ko.
Anyway dafa nekk mixed feelings to the people am na ñoo xam ne like nañ ko am na ñoo xam ne likeguñ idea bi te always fu mixed feelings am xëccoo ak noise moo fa dee nekk nekkuñ at one angle su nekkee one angle duñ mun a am this noise waaye Banjulians especially me my own opinion I'm a Banjulian ni waroon nañ ñoo yëgal sax what is happening on the ground before action taking place before ñeneen soo gisee ànduñ si dañ ci xamut luy xew waaye ñi xam suñ understanding maybe they will come to understand what is the purpose and what is meant for ni soo gisee nit tamit du ko against waxaluñ ko luy xew suñ ko expliqué lii moo tax ñuy defi lii dina si ànda loolu laa foog to my own opinion loolu laa foog.
Reporting for the Fair2 Network's news review in the streets of Banjul, I am Mudiwa Ngom.
And now officials of Sino Majulak held a press conference after an unannounced site visit by the mayor of Banjul, Rohey Malik Lowe. Our Fatu Kamara tells us more.
Late last week, Mayor Rohey Malik Lowe, together with some BCC officials and the media, embarked on an unannounced site visit to 3 construction sites in Banjul: Ja Oil Company, Terminal Container, and Sino Majulak Jalba.
We confirm that the Banjul City Council have nothing to do with all this. Then ñun Banjul City Council ñu ngi need fond ñu ngi need revenue yoo xam ne ñu ngi war a dimbale suñu nit yi même ñi ni suñ taawalee lii di def sign mining fii di ko yóbbu arrangé wut Banjul City Council at all because ñun ñu ngi nekk local government authority yoo xam ne ñun amuñ suñ am dafa ndaw si revenue yu ndaw yi la ñoo jëli tax yooyu yëpp government jël nañ ko suñ loxo liñ dese mooy lu ndaw yi ñu war a amee sign mining bi war nañ see am millions.
moo fi nekk di génn ñaari côté ni suuf moo fi nekk di génn benn bi nekk gis nii benn bi nekk yéen a ngi ko su fekkee ne bëgg ngeen ñu dem fële waaw ñu dem
mayor bi suy def dara déglu ma man suma xaalis laa jël dégg nga mayor bi suy politique man politique ma dégg nga dëkk bi dafa am loi man dama am suma license.
On Friday, officials of the Sino Majulak Jalba called a presser to address the unannounced visit of the mayor.
Yesterday, for those of you who saw it and who were around here, the scene was very, very scary. Scary in the sense that when Rohey and those BCC officials and the whole media entourage stormed this place, because they literally went past the security in a split second, according to what the security told us. It was a very scary scene. When I personally got here, they were already in here. Machines were running. If you watch most of the videos, when even Rohey herself was speaking, you couldn't hear her.
It wasn't safe.
Because the machines were running, which is very, very dangerous. I don't know what this unannounced visit is all about, because you don't go to a private business or a private home or private property calling it an unannounced visit. Nobody has that right. You can do that to a government building maybe, because that belongs to all. But this is a private entity. It's like somebody barging into your bedroom and the person is not even law enforcement, and even if they are law enforcement without any warrant, and just claim, hey, because I work for the government, I can just, do an unannounced visit. What is an unannounced visit? What is this unannounced visit? We need to stop this. Let the public officials understand their role. If you have any questions or you want to even prod or scrutinize us, you know how many times personally I have invited people over here, environmentalists, activists, all kinds of people, and give them a tour of the place. If you have any questions or you have any issues, by all means come and tell us, look, I want to come here, I want to check this, that. We will take you on a tour. We are not hiding anything. We are right on the highway, as Papa just said. There is no secret here. If this is a secret, then this is the biggest open secret in the history of mankind. And when it comes to the environment, we have been through the most rigorous environmental impact assessment in the history of this country. If you don't believe that, ask NEA. These professionals dealt with us like, I mean, to be honest with you, people like me were very, very frustrated. We thought there was some kind of witch hunt going on. But when it was all concluded, they told us, look, this is good because we were strict with you guys. We did this about the book. We did it the right way. You can go anywhere in the country and raise your hand and say we did this the right way. So all this talk about environment, this environment, it's just people making up stuff. They don't have any facts. They cannot even show you anything as proof that this is what I have. Because this is a Gambian own. I'm telling you, guys, if we are going to do this to our own, then we are messed up. Because other people from other countries, I'm not xenophobic, but foreigners are doing business here and making a fortune without any headache at all. And Gambians come, they want to develop this country, they want to put food on the table. Almost 50 Gambians are working here. Some are from Badibu Saba, some are from Banjul, some are from Bakau, some are from Kianjali, some are from Jara, some are from Fonyi, some are from Nyomi. Gambians. And here, let me tell you something, we don't even discuss politics. They come here work just to put food on the table. That's all this company is all about. So please, 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 I'm begging, I'm appealing to Rohi, government, or any officials of anywhere, that if you have questions, come to us and ask.
During the press conference, Omar Jang, CEO of the Sino Majilak Jalbag, said the company is a 100% private business that went through all scrutiny. According to him, the visit of the mayor was a premeditated act intended to damage the image of his business. He added patriotism drove him back to invest in the Gambia.
My sincere apologies to my family, to my colleagues, to relatives, to Gambians at large for rising up to debate yesterday where I rise up to provocation and then have an edited video that has gone everywhere showing me in behavior and swearing that is very, very uncharacteristic of me and has no basis in the life that I intend to live. But when someone elected that should know better go out with hooligans, provoking and insulting people, having cameras around, pre-planning anything, editing those videos and taking them out, then it beggars belief if one doesn't question their motivation, their intention. If you are elected, you have institutions of government that you have right to contact. Please contact them and allow us to come back home and contribute our quota to development. The visit was premeditated, planned, orchestrated to have maximum impact to defame and damage our investment. I am Gambian, born and bred. I love my country. And it's patriotism that drove me to bring this kind of business to Gambia. Gambia is very small. If I had taken this business to Nigeria, the business will generate more money. If I take it to Cote d'Ivoire, it will generate more money. If I take it to Guinea-Bissau, to Senegal, to Benin, it will generate more money. And I have worked in West Africa. But I chose Gambia because I told you before, I made a commitment that I will bring investment in my country, and I love my country. There is no elected official out there that can tell me, you love Banjul or you love Gambia more than me. Today, I'm employing Banjulians. So going back, I don't want to digress, going back to the project. We had our runnings to allow ourselves to be the guinea pigs for all the mandated and legislated government institutions to bring commercial dredging to Gambia. And today, we are being scrutinized, and I'm very happy about that. We're being scrutinized by the mandated and legislated government institutions that are responsible for our environment for our parks and wildlife, and for the mining of any resource in Gambia. And I don't think I would have ever stood anywhere and feel relieved by the scrutiny I've gone through in the last 3 years by these government institutions, be it the Ministry of Energy, Geology, and the National Environment Agency. And we have an office here for NEA, National Environment Agency. We have an office here for Geology. And we are happy to support the learning process to enable us to make informed decisions for our country, our environment, and what develops our country. For the record, all equipment here was procured by me, Omar Jan. And these equipments arrived here over a year and a half ago in the peak of COVID. And I had to store them at GGC for over a year, paying salaries without the business starting. So that was another provocation and something very hurtful to be accused that this is a government business or these machines belong to the disaster recovery of the country. How wicked, how insensitive is that when someone has gone and sacrificed your hard-earned family earnings, put it in a business, and a responsible elected individual coming in and all the people around her going on that this is even government. For the record, I'll put it straight. I challenge any government institution to come and say what they owe in this business or what they have in this business. I had a tough time getting the business where it is 3 years, I quote, and that's all through government scrutinizing us and making us a guinea pig for this business.
Manager of the company, Alhaji Samate, took the media through the company's scope of operation. Samate pointed the Gambia government is fully aware of the company's operation. He emphasized it is important for people to make inquiries about the company before making conclusive comments.
They came here, they asked me about the project, what is going on. We told them, of course, it's sand dredging. They said, yes, but we know. But why didn't you come to the city council, so the city council, in a sense, to make something up? I said, look, we are dealing with the government of the Gambia. The government of the Gambia, in any project, they know the right stakeholders. It's not for investors or companies to go around looking for the stakeholders at any given area. You cannot do that. We are here to invest. We went to the government, they told us, go to so-and-so. They invited so-and-so to meetings. These are the people they think are the right stakeholders for whatever's happening. And these stakeholders have been coming here frequently, doing their job. So if you come to us, we told you, look, I told them environment is aware, fisheries is aware, all these other departments are aware. If you want further information, go to them. They will be able to tell you about the project. Anybody wanted information about this project, they know where to get the right information. If they're saying this is part of Banjul, this is part of KMC, we had some KMC guys pass by here. But the truth is they never bulge in with cameras and so on. And even people are telling us this area is part of KMC. I'm not saying that is right. I'm not an expert on that. I know it's before the Denton Bridge. But KMC never bulge in here, jumping, shouting, yeah, you should have contacted us. We need to make millions of money. Just like somebody was commenting on this. Whatever money is being made here, this company is a registered company. It's paying taxes like all the registered companies in the country. It's paying royalties to the government of the Gambia. And where do royalties go? They go back to the company. They go back to the country.
Sino Majilah Jalba Company is a 100% private company. It is said to have started operation in 2019. Accordingly, the company is said to have gone through all the necessary scrutiny from the Gambia government before operation. The officials of the company called on anyone who wants to make inquiry about the company to go through the right channels. They, however, expressed disappointment about Mayor Rohey Malick Low's act, saying there is nothing like an unannounced visit to a private business. Fatou Kamara reporting for the Fat Network News Review.
Saturday hosted his party leader and other UDP officials at the Serekunda market. According to Lord Mayor Bensouda, his party leader was invited to the market to have first-hand information on the plight of market vendors. More in this report. The leader of the United Democratic Party on Saturday joined the Lord Mayor of KMC and other party officials for a visit to the Serekunda market, highlighting some of the challenges the mayor continues to face in executing his duties. Dabo said a UDP government will ensure there is separation of power between central and local government, adding that the long-standing issue of government subventions to municipalities will be highly reconsidered under a UDP government.
Municipal councils area councils inyanta isa soto adun ninnata ratio nyin ba kuri consider la ba o ni ka subvention ka gamendi ma zakuna gamendi mune lo xamante ne moy subvention lu nga am mo tay sen wala bi nga xamante mo waral ala bu ci gut ba bol quand même fo amu ji ke so ji am sa ji ke so ti ba ko no mune lo tawla ci bir ji am nafa am wara barke mune jeja wara woto ni UDP nada bajaral ka foko subvention member tila local authorities ada kala feneti membe nya fala ala amal sana bidan ana nono memari to lo finance economic sport la baykan bari tel yalo ni ko no be solla na ko sa fra mo la tax increase la tax ni ko yokko local government or the authorities independence or autonomy constitutional ya fanyame wo sabat la janto decentralization sembo bebe blakili no janto sembo bebe president office olto adunia sembo bebe blakili do banko bukata manyanta dala manyanta woto local government nyodu ila nafa moment banko ka sembo me yalon ka be president la bula wolle be talala yedi area council yedo ko ka ni wote concentration of power ka sembo ka tu bulkile kono ata de marsa chairman mazongera council and all other local government authorities meni la hido di la lako ni UDP sita property of power sembo nyin kabo ni sando kana du wala so la nyin banko.
Dabo applauds the Lord Mayor for his commitment in making KM a better municipality.
Well, Serekunda Nkolo. Bebe ni marsoto. Aliajele. Alanamo. Akana famena. Aliajele. Allah alemol bel tombo. Kuria tara ali KM. KMC. Aliajele. Bedo ko menke kazi. Kontanta. Lord Mayor ko. Ako kakini manyiki. Ako kana councilors no bede. Wala ya kenne Karim Dabo atarta janto aliyalon ne alemol mel tombo kay marandi KM la yello molti mel yalon kaboko ni banko la nyaato ta
The UDP leader said development will not be possible without people paying their taxes, imploring everyone who was present at this gathering to pay theirs. Dabo also stressed the need for togetherness, as he calls it the only way Gambia can move forward.
Manjago bijeto, Dola bijeto, Surwa bijeto, Sarakuleo, Sio Bele bijeto, Muslim bijeto, Christians bijeto, Meli Adam Kabo Koma, Allah, Imala, Allah, Mala Bele bijeto, Mol bijeto, Manka Banko, Bari Kankilia, O bijeto, Woto Kankilia, Adimo Sabatini. Walbekala na nyato tatu kana song kuya duntema lebo bobo tinyala kana song kuya bekela kuya ke me ya don kaboko ni marse ton kolu me muy hame kodi membo sambal ko.
Meanwhile, Mayor Bensouda reiterated the lack of support from government, especially when it comes to subventions.
ay development yu bari yu ñoo wax ci marché bi yépp soo gisee mu am mooy councilor ci KMC yu ma day jàppale ak liggéeykat yi KMC wante ndimbal ci nguur gi boobu amuñ ko at bu nekk September 31st da September 30th comme loi bi num ko waxee dañ dee bind suñu subvention ñu request ko from the national government at bu nekk nañ request lu day 47 million duñ ñu ko nangoo jox dañu dee wax ne dafa leet wala amuñ xaalis wante loolu du loi bi de loi bi lu mu wax moo nekk loolu suñu xaalis la parce que doomi Gambien yi loolu seen naamoy la loolu kenn moomu ko doomi Gambien yaa ko moom mu war a jaar KMC ñu mun koo delloo gaay loolu musuñ koo am moo tax suñu liggéey mu des ak doole moo tax ma indi suñu next président pour suñ ñëwee mu gis tegala développement am na wante marché bi lu mu soxla dafa bari marché yi yëpp dañu yaaxu KMC bari na place yu yaaxu dama ñëw mu gis dangaa gis su duggee office dama bëgg mu promise ma in his first year na try subvention yi ñëw to councils.
For TFN News, I am Saja Brito.
TAF Africa Global presents the new Tulip Gardens. TAF Tulip Gardens is set to comprise service plots in sizes ranging from 220 to 570 meters square. Deposit as low as $83,600 is only an 18-month interest-free payment plan with only 20% deposit on the service plots. Please contact 376-2333 or 776-2333. Free. TAF Africa Global.
Welcome back, viewers. And now I am joined by our special guest on News Review today, former SG, Mr. Momodu Sabally. Welcome to the Fatu Network Commando.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Let's begin with money, since that's more your area of speciality. We've seen recently reports online saying that the Central Bank of the Gambia, under the leadership, of course, of Bua Seydi, have reached an agreement with the Central Bank of Nigeria, allowing them to mint Gambia's currency. What does this mean, first of all? Let's break it down for everyone to have an understanding, because the implication of this could be very huge. What does this mean?
Well, to start with, it's very alarming, because Gambia has been minting her currency for years, and I think they've been consistent as to where to mint the currency. If the governor of the Central Bank of the Gambia, all of a sudden, and I know there's enough stock at the Treasury for at least 2 years, all of a sudden our governor Central Bank goes to Nigeria unannounced, and an agreement is announced that we're going to change, and now money, like the physical money, is going to be printed in Nigeria. I think this is alarming. It's worrying. Why Nigeria? Why was it not drawn through a competitive process? Which other countries were considered? Why are we shifting from our traditional countries that are minting our currency? So these are all huge question marks. And we know when it comes to money, it's all about perception and sentiment. People trust that there is money at the bank. On the note, they will write, promise to pay on demand, XYZ. It's just a concept. We know for sure, when it comes to counterfeit in this country, like printing false money, if I may put it that way, which countries' nationals are mostly accused of this? We know it. So why Nigeria? What is the problem? What's going on? Because already we know our economy is highly unstable, depreciation of the currency. Then you go mint the country's money in Nigeria. I think it's going to cause a loss of confidence in our domestic currency.
What are the macroeconomic ramifications of this?
Absolutely. I think it's going to cause a depreciation of the dollar. Of course, whatever is happening in terms of counterfeit is going to get worse. Whether it happens or not, the public's perception, people will start holding foreign currency instead of the dollar. We've had that history in this country, and the current governor was there. We were all there when this thing happened. People were opening dollar accounts, and it's called dollarization. It's very bad for the economy. The economy is bad enough. We don't need to make it worse. Why on earth does Adama Barrow and his governor want to go to Nigeria to mint our currency? Very bad move. Totally alarming. Completely unacceptable.
And talking about, counterfeiting, alarms have been raised recently that there is too much fake money out there in this country. What do you expect the Central Bank of the Gambia to do in situations like these to control the situation?
Well, what would have expected was to further strengthen the security features of the Dalasi and either stay with the current country that's minting our currency or go to a safer zone. But from that to Nigeria, I think definitely that's really there's a huge question mark on this. I don't know what Barrow and his government is trying to do, because we know there are a lot of things that can happen when it comes to the printing of a currency. I think it's a very dangerous move. Central Bank should reverse this particular move and go for a better country.
You served as Director of Budget for the Central Bank of the Gambia. Which countries are minting our Gambian currency right now?
I was Director of Budget at the Ministry of Finance, not Central Bank of the Gambia.
Yes,
I know we've dealt with a company called BlackBerry Wilkinson. I don't know which country. Of late, I've heard of Malta, but Nigeria, we've never been there.
Is that a safe place to mint a currency, Malta?
Well, we've never had problems with our currency. Gambia, the Dalasi is one of the most stable currencies in the world. So my thing is, there's this American thing, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Right.
You're doing something, it's working, why do you want to change that? If you are changing, go to somewhere, because like I said, it's mainly about perception and sentiment. Why don't you go to a country where your domestic consumers, those who are acting in the economy, would have more confidence?
And now we've also seen concerns about the value of our money, the Dalasi. What do you think is happening to our currency?
Well, the economy has been suffering, and it's not now. I know anytime you mention this, they try to blame coronavirus. I think coronavirus...
Which we will come to later, by the way.
They try to blame the COVID, but the economy was already weak and was weakening further even before this coronavirus. Started off with excessive borrowing, the boneheaded decision to increase salaries by 50% at a go, of which I advised them against that. What happened? Senseless increase of taxes, especially excise tax, on institutions like... Julbrew, that led to the closing of a company that's as old as the country. Right. So you've had all of these things, and now we're getting into an election period. You've had several rounds of supplementary appropriation, which is mostly not backed by tangible revenue sources. What happened? Government is borrowing and printing money, like borrowing from the central bank. What it causes is inflation, depreciation of the currency. People's livelihoods get worse. But this year, we've seen Adama Barrow and his government, instead of going to work hard and get the pledge, the 1.5 billion euro, they've decided to sit down, rest on their laurels, borrow from the domestic economy. Definitely what it does is crowding out. The private sector would not have adequate access to resources, even if they do. The price of those resources, with which the exchange rate is extremely high. So what that does, it causes macroeconomic instability. The economy cannot grow because government is taking resources. And by default, we know government does not spend wisely. So what they're doing, they putting laterite on the Hakalang Road and painting it, because that's it. If you just put this red gravel and then you pour black tar on that, you're wasting public resources. The dividend will not come. Even if it is going to come, it's long term. So you're taking short-term loans for long-term development projects. It is definitely going to weaken your economy, and people are going to suffer.
So talking about money and the coronavirus pandemic, I remember you are one of the first people who continued to call out the government of the Gambia, the Ministry of Health, to be specific, over their handling of the pandemic, especially when it came to the COVID funds. What do you make of Maligan's investigation that the Ministry of Health used a whopping 2 million Gambian Dalasis to transport some sort of COVID vaccine from Bissau to the Gambia? What do you make of that?
A vaccine that was meant to be free. I think it's just symptomatic of the endemic corruption that characterizes this kleptocracy, the Barrow administration. I said from the get-go that Dr. Samate doesn't have the leadership skills to run this sector. People took it personal. They went and defended him. What happened last week? Somebody, I think staff of TRRC, goes to the hospital. He's asked to buy gloves that the nurses would use to inspect him. This country is very funny. Once somebody is related to somebody or has a particular name, nobody wants that person to be criticized. So we have to commend Malagan for the investigation. The 2 million, there's another 2 million from an audit report I had. The Ministry of Finance bought credit. $2 million is for teleconferencing. They're looting the treasury, and that's why I call Barrow and his gang squirrels.
Now, this is not the first scandal that the Ministry of Health has been corrupt in. I remember, I think a couple of months ago, there were videos of their officials basically selling COVID-19 tests to travelers out there. What do you think the government of the Gambia needs to do at this point, considering all these allegations of corruption going on in the country?
But the government doesn't care. The government has practically legalized corruption. If a president who didn't have a proper one-bedroom apartment in his hometown can now boast of a twin-story buildings within 3 to 4 years, you know that government is corrupt. The Banja case, the fisheries bribery case, the audio that came out implicated both the minister and the PS, but it was only the PS that was punished. It's like a witch hunt. Malagan again went to the same Dr. Samate, asked for a breakdown of expenditure of COVID. He refused. So this is a government that's telling us, so I'm done with advising this government. The ones I advise, the people who voted them into power, go get your voters out and kick them out on December 4th.
You know, it's interesting you mentioned that Malagan went to the minister requesting for a breakdown of COVID-19 expenses, which never happened.
Yes.
How urgent is it for this country to have access to information bill?
Well, I mean, to be honest, I'm not even a fan of this access to information bill. I think the Gambia has the right laws by and large, but it's the implementation of the laws. And you have a government that doesn't care about the law, just does what it wants. I don't know how much that access to information bill can help people to get information from a government that's corrupt, that's hell-bent in being corrupt, and that's hell-bent on maintaining corrupt officials.
And now we are in the voter registration process. Like you said, if Gambians want the change, let them go out there and vote for whoever they think is fit to run this country. Now, the process, of course, have been marred by so many allegations out there. One of the things which raised eyebrows, of course, was the fact that the Lord Mayor of Banjul was issuing attestations to Banjulians, you know, but that is not the case, because we've already talked about that. And now fast forward, CSO, Gambia participates, and of course the Center for Research and Development are now suing the mayor. What do you think about this?
Well, to be honest, I think what's happening is the things that raised eyebrows about this registration is not actually the mayor. I think the mayor is being unfairly targeted because she's UDP. And we know some of these CSOs are not all that independent. They all have their dogs in the fight. The most alarming thing for me in this voter registration was the fact that IEC was conducting voter registration in the home of the Minister of Local Government and executive member of the NPP. Unheard of. But the CSO will not sue the local government minister or the IEC for that. We've heard of clear-cut cases where foreigners came and they were registered, aided and abetted by members of the NPP. That's also not alarming. CSOs are not bothered about that, and several issues. Even the delay in issuing of voters' cards. All these machines breaking down, highly populated areas getting like drops in the ocean registration. The CSOs are comfortable about all of that. But a clear-cut no-brainer case where alcalos appointed by the local government minister can issue association, CFOs who are openly political tools, issuing attestations. Who is the alcalo of Banjul is Rod Mayor Rohey Malick Lowe. But Rohey Malick Lowe cannot issue attestations because she's UDP. I think it's a witch hunt, and it's an attack on the person of Rohey Malick Lowe and an attack on the United Democratic Party. That is my opinion.
And still now people are thinking that, like you rightly mentioned, the number of people registering is just like a drop in the ocean, because machines are faulty, like the queues are long, you know, whatever the case is. Now, are you with other people who say that the IEC should extend the voter registration, period?
Well, I would not rush to do that. I think there were concerns in certain areas, like Gunjur was mentioned in particular, that the rate at which they were registering, it was too slow, given the population size. I think in such particular cases, the IEC should definitely ab initio make considerations for that. Other than that, I think what we should do is to appeal to Gambians who qualified to get registered, to come out and get registered, because this is very important. This is not just for the presidential election. National Assembly election is going to come. Local government is going to come. And I think it's important, having made a terrible mistake of bringing in Adama Barrow, the worst president ever in the Gambia's history, it should be everybody's concern to go and vote and elect the right person this time around.
And talking about the biggest hot topic last week on social media, that was your comment about the TRRC. Now, I know some people came for you saying that, because they were all fans of Essa Faal. And why did you, issue that statement about the TRRC?
Issues. I think you're a bit late on the scene. It's almost a done deal now.
It's not a done deal for me.
One, two, I didn't make a comment about the TRRC. And I'll use this opportunity to clarify that. I didn't make a comment about the TRRC. I didn't attack the TRRC. I did not criticize the TRRC. I have every respect for the victims, and I think the victims should get what the victims want to get. Having said that, Essa Faal is not TRRC, cannot be TRRC. He's not even a commissioner. He's not going to have the final say on the TRRC. Essa Faal is a Gambian who is in the public office, and he's interested in the biggest public office of this country. So I have every legitimate right to criticize Essa Faal, just like I criticize Lamin Jai, just like I criticize Mamburen Jai, just like other people criticize Usainu Dabo and our top executives. What is the problem? I'm the Gambian Silun Buga Defa Yomba. You want democracy in the chip, it's not gonna happen. In fact, I was gonna write an article on the rigors of democracy, Daradufi Yomba, because they want everything cheap. Don't. What I said is Essa Faal as an individual is interested in public office, and that's quite obvious. There's an Essa Faal fans club. He was going to have his inaugural meeting this past weekend, but I think my preemptive attack just destroyed that. I saw a news item on a public blog saying that he's going to launch his party now after the submission of the recommendations of the TRRC, which is what makes sense. I think it's completely wrong. For a lead counsel of an institution that is as sensitive as the TRRC to come out and get into the political ring even before the TRRC's work is done, I think it's completely unacceptable, and it will never happen in any country in the world except this country. So I said Essa Faal should not run now. I didn't say he should never run. Not now. And even after the TRRC submits their recommendations, I think Essa should give a cooling period, because already this institution is being accused by some people, some segments of society, as being a political ploy. So if you have those kind of sentiments, and you have the issue of the victims, I think Essa and his colleague Babagale Jallow should be patient enough and have enough care and respect for the plight of the victims, for them to stay out of politics, at least for a reasonable period before they jump into the fray. So I criticize Essa Faal. I stand by my criticism. I'm not changing that. I'm not apologizing. But I did not criticize the TRRC. I did not attack the TRRC. I have respect for the victims, and I think the victims should get what the victims want, because I am a victim too. Okay, we're going to press the button on that, because part of the criticism that people were saying was that, well, okay, this guy says anything and everything. He's in fact a Jammeh enabler. He's one of those people who has never stood anywhere to in fact condemn anything that Jammeh has done before. Well, if they say that, it's nothing new, but Essa Faal was a Jammeh enabler too. Essa was part of the commissions when the soldiers came in '94, one of the commissions that went into to probe into the activities of the public corporation. So he was also there. Who was not an enabler here? They know their uncles and their aunties were there, but they would not mention them, but they would mention Mamadou Sabally. I am not hiding the fact that I worked under Jammeh. Fine, I made some mistakes, just like anybody anywhere who works in government makes mistakes, and I apologize for that. But I'm not apologizing to anybody for working for my country. So it's just pettiness, and they have sacred cows in this country. You can criticize certain people, but some people, it's the animal farm that I accuse Barrow of, and they label him that. They're equally guilty. All animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than others. People criticize Usainu Dabo. People insult Mama Kande. But they don't make any fuss about that. Who is Essa Faal? He's a citizen like any other person. If he wants to get into public office, he has a right. I respect it. I have a right to have an opinion, and nothing will change that because nobody can cage me.
So how is grassroots politics going on right now? I know that, first of all, let's talk about, because I know if there is anything that you are good at is bringing people to the UDP. So there is always video of Sabally bringing someone cross-captain from another. What position are you going to give me? Because if you give me the position of lieutenant, I am going to Abdulwilan you.
Media advisor.
I am going to Abdulwilan you.
Honorary advisor for strategic communication. That's the latest title in town.
But how is grassroots politics going on
really
there?
Exciting, really amazing, man. I'm like, I'm in the zone, if you know what that means. Like, it's like I'm in heaven, going to these rural areas, talking to people, understanding their problem, speaking to their language, touching their hearts, and them coming over to the UDP. It's one of the most exciting things I've ever done. Every day I'm getting calls, people wanting to come to UDP. They want to meet me. They want me to go and attend their meetings. It's really, really fantastic. UDP is, the growth is spreading like wildfire. We're taking over this country on Ousainou Darboe, December 5th.
You've really become one of the known faces of the UDP. And sometimes you will find critics saying that, well, Sabally has hijacked the UDP. How do you respond?
Well, I think, okay, well, people can have their petty opinions here and there, and that's normal. Like, even if I dance on water, some people will say, Sabally Munyo Reyak Punda. But the face of UDP is His Excellency, the Honorable Lawyer Alhaji Ousainou Darboe, Yakumba Jaite, Mayor Rohilo, Mayor Talib Bensouda, and you have a lot of other prominent people. I am just one of the mix. It's just that I have a huge social media presence, and you know my interactions with the media. I have an open door policy. If you call me anywhere, I'll come and answer to you. Ideally, I would not have done an interview today, but if Fatu Network calls me, I have to answer. I think that's it. But UDP, if there is anybody who is the face and soul and heart and body of the UDP, that is the president in waiting, His Excellency, the Honorable Lawyer Alhaji Ousainou Darboe. And all my campaign, like I said in an interview prior, my greatest asset in my campaign, in penetrating the grassroots and bringing people to the UDP, it is about the competence, the character, the lineage, and everything about His Excellency Alhaji Ousainou Darboe, his track record in touching the lives of Gambians, even before he went into politics. We have a gold mine, we can never exhaust it.
What does this election mean for the UDP?
Well, it means a lot because really UDP was shortchanged, betrayed, and thrown under the bus after fighting for 25 years based on principle, democracy, rule of law, freedom of speech. UDP practically, I mean, the tree of New Gambia was watered by the blood and sweat of UDP members. And for UDP to come and spearhead that change, and you have somebody come in the person of Adama Barrow, who was not even a known figure in UDP, to take over that change and to betray a whole nation from the 3 years issue to the 5 years issue to now, he say 15 years, like destroying a whole constitution worth more than $100 million just for his personal benefit, and starting to trample on the rights of people, siphoning the resources of the nation. And UDP, if you know UDP and Ousainou Darboe, one of the greatest things to have ever come, that would have ever come out of this transition, would be a constitution that guarantees freedom of speech, freedom of association, freedom of assembly, and freedom of everything, and guaranteeing the rights of citizens and protecting the resources. Adama Barrow and his gang of squirrels, they trample on that for their personal benefit. UDP has been cheated, shortchanged. So UDP cannot fight for 25 years and allow one person to try to derail that whole chain. No, the fight has to go on. His Excellency the Alhaji Lawyer Ousainou Darboe, Her Excellency Ajiyam Seka, Ajiyam Ndaweyabo, Nogoy Njai, Fatu Kamara, and others will continue to fight to see that what Single Nyasi envisaged, what Lamin Dambundiba envisaged, what Abu Karamba Gassama, Buba Samura, and Lang Marong, and their legion of heroes, what they fought for, what they envisaged for the better Gambia, based on the sound principles of a sound constitution, of freedom, of law and order. These people will make sure that will that these people left here is implemented to the letter. So it's not a joke.
Your message to the Gambian people?
Vote for UDP. His Excellency Alhaji Ousainou Darboe is the best candidate in the ring. You can't compete him. They're all jokers, the others.
Thank you very much for
Thanks
coming
for
to the show. Thank you very much. And now moving on to sports with the vision of achieving peace and discipline through Kung Fu. The Gambia Shi Kung Fu Contact Club on Sunday held its annual graduation ceremony at a local park in Serekunda. Usman Jatta has more.
The ceremony is a yearly event which normally attracts different martial art clubs within the KM region under one umbrella to display their knowledge and skills gained from Kung Fu. Martial art was first used by people to secretly train together to fight against oppressors. Today's martial arts has become a community with a bigger purpose as people of all ages and all walks of life meet to learn and share their experiences. In order to be awarded a belt, students are normally required to undergo an exam to assess their level of skills and knowledge in Kung Fu. While registering his disappointment towards the government, Usman Baji, master of the club, says the government gives more attention to football, giving deaf ears to martial arts.
Martial arts mainly Kung Fu, Taekwondo, Karate. So ñom lu gaay jaba sport mo nek football, volleyball, handball ak yunu al basket. So sen xaliss deug fofu la degina duga. Waye musuma gis club bi nga xamantene wax nañ ne autocollet am nguur yi mo lañ jappalé ci club bo non. Ñun any programme ñoo def nañ invite ministre ci, nañ invite sport council, nañ invite ay ministre bi nga mo amé sport sañ ko invite. Dañ invite ji ad pour ñu mëno ñu cover suñu programme ci waye ñu ñew. te fo na gi ATS mo la represent nguur bi place bu nekk suñu waré mbiri sport waye at bu nekk ne bi na gaay leta pour gaay mëna ñew waye ñu ñëw ci gaay ne mëna ñew.
Violence is a reality that is faced by everyone, and martial arts training provides necessary skills to increase the chances of survival. Students learn and practice risk avoidance and fighting skills that they can apply should their safety be at risk.
ne train ñun ci kawam de waaye ñun de suñu xol seddut moom parce que mënuñoo génn sax dem perform comme ça football xoolal football dañuy dem different country di am xaalis di teral seen yaay ñun tam suñu señoon ñu dem olympique ñu dem wala buñ demutee sax gouvernement du ñu jàppale di compétition ñu ni neen ñu teg xaalis ñun tamit suñu waajur xam ne guddi lu ñuy génn du caaxaan waaye ñu ngi toog rek kenn déggu da boobaa sa yaay boo waxee ne da ngay dem train ci guddi du nangu dafa yaakaar ci caaxaan ngay dem.
Martial arts training provides tools that enable people to learn and apply skills that help them realize not only what they are capable of, but also gives them a sense of pride from knowing what they have accomplished. In his part, Honorable Sekou Marong, National Assembly member for Latrikunda Sabiji, outlining the importance of martial art, said football is not the only sport Gambians should venture into, adding,
definitely these people need help. Gambians, our problem is that when we talk about sport, our only focus is football. You know, it's not only about football, it's about other sports also, disciplines. So my take on these people is that let's just encourage them to forge ahead with what they are doing. And I'm quite sure that one day or the other, we will achieve something out of this. Yes.
Western culture saw a rise in interest for martial art during the 20th century, as can be seen in the adoption of Kung Fu and Karate by most youth. Abdul Jame, Executive Director of Gamsi Kung Fu Contact Club, and Tijan Koli, President of the Gambia Kung Fu Federation, both highlighted reasons why martial art should be promoted like any other sporting activity.
It's very significant to address this. We've seen a lot of people in this country who express their fear. That is because they don't have the skill of martial art. If you have the skill of martial art, which is Kung Fu, you don't fear because it teaches you how to develop yourself. It gives you agility and vitality beside your ability to defend yourself. So in defending yourself, for example, gender-based violence, we've seen rape issues. We are calling on girls to come and train. Come and train Kung Fu. This will help you to not be a criminal or to not have a man-like shape, but to defend yourself as a person.
Nguur gi war na ci def lo xam jàppale bu baax fédération yu nga xamante ne def di nekk sport yu mel ni boxing, karaté, judo, taekwondo war nañu jàppale bu baax ñu dem kanam.
Martial art is among the growing sport in the country like football and volleyball. The sports has over the years attracted many youth who are very passionate about martial art. However, the sport is not given much attention like football and other sporting activities in the country. According to the master of Gamsi Contact Club, they have invited the National Sports Council on various occasions, but they never showed up. Despite all, they are still not relenting in their call for support from government. Reporting for the Fatu Network News Review, Usman Jata.
That brings us to the end of today's show. Do join us tomorrow if you can. Thank you very much for watching and have a good day.